Hey there, welcome to the show. Good Lord, it's week 52, December 31st, 2023. It's the last day of the year. It's the last show of the year, and I'm actually getting this show in before tomorrow. So, hey, welcome to the show. It's Les Solgrove, Simply Des Moines Market Values, the weekly show that talks about what's happening and what has happened in the Des Moines real estate market. And I am so happy that you guys have stuck with me all year. Let's get into this week's show. And it's going to be kind of a real basic one because I'm really working hard on next week's month-end report for December. We're going to see a little bit of end of the month report numbers today, but we'll go more in depth next week. And then in a couple weeks after that, hopefully I'll have the year-in review report ready to go as well. So let's jump in. One thing I wanted to show you this week, as is typical over here to the far right, you can see that our inventory levels tend to tail off that last 5 or 6 weeks of the year, and that's just normal. But one thing that we did see right here, if you can kind of see that little gray line, that means that we went under 3,000 listings. And I'll tell you the number here when we get to the end of the show here. But we went under 3,000 listings this last week for the first time since back in, looks like about week 32, which would be sometime in, was that October, late September, early October maybe? But anyway, I totally expect that inventory is probably going to drop a little bit more as we start the year. Now, looking back, we've made some pretty good strides here. This black line is 2022, and we started the year last year about 2,000 listings. So we're up about 1,000, which, is pretty good compared to last year's numbers. And that's a good sign. I think we're going to see, obviously, our numbers are going to start right around here next week. But I don't think we're going to see this major drop like we've seen in typical spring markets. I'm already hearing that a lot of agents are out doing market analyses and meeting with home sellers and getting ready with all their home buyers ready to get out and hit the market at the first of the year here. So, but again, nothing unsurprising with the trending that happened for this last 6 or 7 weeks. It's pretty typical. The gray line is 2021 as well. So in the pricing category here, we have been flat for the last, 7-8 weeks now? The last 8 weeks we've been flat at about $350,000 is the median list price overall. That's new construction and single family resales and condos and townhomes, staying really, really flat at that number, where in previous years, 2 years ago, we saw that number rise, and then this past year with mortgage interest rates really taking their toll last year when rates really rose fast. Actually, surprisingly, that number stayed up kind of where it was there. So we're going to start the year again here tomorrow, right around that $350,000 list price point. And I'm not sure what we're going to see happen this year. I think it's possible that we could see prices drop a little bit, but the buyer activity is going to tell that tale. It's going to drive sellers into deciding where they want to list their home prices at, and I think we'll maybe see that price increase pick up fairly quickly like we saw in the last couple of years here over here on this left-hand side. So don't be surprised if we see our prices start to rise, but it wouldn't shock me as well if we kind of stayed down a little bit here in 2023 or 2024. Weekly 30-day sales pace. This gives you an idea of how buyer activity has gone on a rolling 30-day scale. And one thing that's really encouraging, which has also given me the confidence to say that we're going to start the year off pretty good, is that you can see right here the last 3 or 4 weeks of the year, we have not had a downward turn. In fact, all the way back to week 48, pretty much the end of November, we have seen sales maintain the same pace, which is typically what we see as sales tail off as the year comes down. So this means that buyer activity is still strong. And I think a lot of this had to do with these mortgage interest rates that were dropping that last 7 or 8 weeks there. I think that's kept the buyers out in the cars and out looking at houses, and that's also put more homes under contract that we normally will see. So this is a good sign. It's going to be a great start for 2024 as we move forward. There's a lot of homes starting to go under contract. In fact, what does this look like with the actual number of homes under contract? We are actually just slightly ahead of last year. This last bar right here is week 52, and the tip of that line, I'll have the numbers here at the end of the show again as well, but we're just slightly ahead of last year at this same time of year, where we have been really well behind most of the year. This is that gap right here. That gap tells us that we were slow compared to last year until we got down to the last 8 or 10 weeks here of the year, and we started to pick up pace. So again, mortgage interest rates were a driving factor in a lot of that, but that's a good sign as we move forward. As far as median sale prices go, where's the rubber hits the road here? This is the closed sale pricing here, and I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. We do typically see the last 3 or 4 weeks of the year the median sale price rise, and that's because we see a lot of new construction homes that are being closed, trying to get those off the books for the builders by the end of the year. So a lot of those homes were closing, and with it being new construction, those prices are up a little bit. So it's not uncommon overall to see these prices rise. One thing I'm doing tonight, it's New Year's Eve. Yeah, no, I shouldn't be out celebrating, right? One thing I'll be doing tonight is capturing every single graphic that I follow and track. Some of these you may only see occasionally, and I'll put this together in either a report of some sort that will probably go out with either the year-end report, or maybe I'll release it a little ahead of time, but it'll have every single different subcategory. So like right here, this is looking at all homes median sale prices. I can tell you that this rise is different when you look at existing homes, single-family existing homes, condo townhomes, and things like that. So overall, we see a rise, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you've seen if you've got a single-family resale property, for example, that's not new construction. So again, we'll put all those graphics together, and they'll be available either next week or the week after, either on its own, or I might release it again with the end of the year report here. As far as the price reductions and price increases, I tend to follow that. Next year, I'll be combining this graphic into one. Again, I think one of the things I said last week we're going to focus on the current data, the data from the previous month, maybe even the previous week, the previous month, and then the previous year. So those will be our 3 metrics that will kind of tie in consistently in my reporting. So you will get an idea of the trend versus just the current trending versus a year ago trending. And then when applicable, we'll go maybe years over year on certain reports here. But we're going to try to simplify this and make the graphics look a little easier to understand and hopefully make them more valuable to you. But as you can see, that price reductions are pretty much done for the year. They're under 80 or so price reductions this last couple of weeks, which is pretty normal. Nobody's making price reductions at this stage. Price increases have pretty much been way down. We did have a couple of anomalies a couple of years ago. I think that was mostly new construction that was causing those new construction pricing to numbers of homes being having price increases were to spike there. Will we see this number spike the first of the year? Probably. I think we're going to see some new builder pricing based on material costs and maybe, some of the other factors with new construction. So don't be surprised if we see a little bit of a bump up here the first of the year. Although January and February, or the first 2 weeks of 2023, you can see we're basically nothing. So anyway, we'll kind of watch that out there as well. One thing that did happen this past week, on December 28th, we did break through the 13,000 sale barrier, and I was very, very confident that we were going to do that. The question is how far did we hit above that 13 at the end of the year here? I'll show you that in a second here, but it took 31 days for us this time to go from 12,000 closed sales to 13,000 closed sales. And that's quite a bit slower compared to at least the last couple of years. In fact, it was almost 2 weeks 16 days, a little over 2 weeks. Can't do math in my head, apparently. Anyway, about 2 weeks from 2021 to 2023. And we're really more on pace with about that 2028 number. The reason why we don't have any bars down here at 2015 and below is because in those years, we never hit 13,000 closed sales. So 2016 was the first year that we hit 13,000 closed sales in the Des Moines market. And moving forward, it's been on pace on average around that 25 to 27 days is what it has been taking with the anomaly of the COVID years there. Year-to-date closed sales as of December 31st. Again, this is the actual number that I recorded today. This is the number that we use as the benchmark for this year. Now, off to the far left over here, you can see that we closed the year out at 13,069. Now, if we go back for a second, where was it? Okay, anyway, 13,069 is our closed sales for the end of the year so far. That number is going to rise. I guarantee you, and I will tell you, it always does rise as we move into January and early February as real estate brokerages finish their sale numbers and turn in those sales that maybe closed this last week, but the office was closed and they hadn't been recorded into the MLS system yet. So this is a snapshot as of December 31st. We're sitting at 13,069. And we're going to see that number rise probably closer to, maybe 300-400 more sales will end up rolling in sometime in that first quarter. But for sure, by the end of the month, we'll have at least another 100 or maybe 200 sales. So, but anyway, this is the number that I report, and I will make some adjustments. You'll see in next year's reporting, I have gone back and calculated the actual closed sales. A lot of these were just snapshots in time and never had been ever adjusted. So we're going to get a more accurate number as we go back, to how many more sales were. I think, for example, 2011, there were 7,790 sales. And I think right now there were 2 more that were turned in since just, I don't know, this last year or so. So somebody found an old sale or something. Anyhow, it got turned in. Never got any credit for it, obviously, for the year, but at least it was turned in. We have good data. So how this breaks down, 13,069, we'll have the full breakdown here in a second when I look at the market hot sheet, which I've held for the very last today. But you can see that the bulk of our sales in this blue category are existing homes. That's where we sell, about 70% of our sales are in resale existing homes. So homes that are effectively, lived in before, and they're single family properties, not condos or townhomes. The condo townhome category really comes in about third in the resale properties. And then new construction makes up the second largest bulk of that. And you can see that small sliver here at the top, that's new construction condo townhomes. And for the most part, again, we'll look at the numbers here, but you can kind of see that condo townhomes in the new construction era from 2020 moving forward, there really hasn't been much of an increase. There's a little bit of an increase this year over the last couple, but more than back in 2019. So let's take a peek and see exactly what that means here. So this is the last time you'll see the daily market hot sheet. I'm going to be scrapping this. It was good information. I'll have something similar so that I'll produce. It may or may not make the weekly shows, but it'll be available at DesMoinesMarketValues.com every week. And so let's just kind of see where we ended the year here. For sale properties, the box on the left here, we're up about almost 6% in the number of listings over the same time over 2022. So we ended the year with 2,957 homes on the market in December 31st of this year. December 31st of last year, we were at 2,794. So only 163 more homes on the market. But that's about almost a 6% increase. And again, that's with this number dropping below 3,000. We were higher than that the last couple of weeks. But just the time of year, we've seen this number drop. So, with 222 of those being existing homes more than last year. So 1,269 was the number of homes currently on the market that the majority of the buyers are buying. Price-wise, we're up, list price is up at the end of the year, right about a little over 1%, 1.2%. That's up a little over $4,000 from last year. $350,000 versus $345,950. Again, this number has been very, very steady this last 4 or 5 weeks at $350,000. We have seen an increase in the existing home sale list prices. They're up about 15% overall, or $40,000 higher at this time than we were last year. And then, of course, new construction typically goes up as well. But overall, when you factor everything in together with the bulk of the sales being in there, it's about a 1.2% increase. The sale pendings, this is the number of homes that went under contract. We're up about 3% with the number of homes under contract over last year, although Doesn't feel like it. There has been this little surge lately, and when I say 3.1%, we're only looking at 41 more homes in the closing bucket that we had a year ago. And the price at pending, which is really a number you really can't rely on, but it gives you an idea, where homes are selling at least when they go into contract. They were about 289.9. Now that isn't the closed sale price, because this number is the number of the prices, the median list price at the time of offer, but it was up a little bit as well. Where, again, like I said before, where the rubber meets the road here is the closed sale units, and of course we are down about 15%, a little over 15% from last year in closed sales. We ended the year at 13,069. Again, that number is going to rise, but as of the snapshot of today, 2,400 closed sales fewer this year than we had last year, but the median sale price is up almost 16,000, or a 6% rise there. So that's kind of the talk of the town, with the mortgage rates up and everything. We thought maybe that sale prices might be down a little bit, but buyers are out there still buying. So over here on the right hand side, the days on market is also increased. We're about a week longer on the market than we were a year ago, and we're not used to that overall. In the existing homes, it's not too bad. It's only about 3 or 4 days longer than the same time this last year. But again, this is a December 31st number, so these numbers will fluctuate throughout the year. We did end the year in a balanced market for all homes buyers. That's between 4 and 6 months of inventory, and then under three months of inventory for sellers. So we will see, and I just misspoke, the category I've used this past year, the last 2 or 3 years with COVID, is 3 to 5 months of inventory is considered a balanced market. We are going back, beginning tomorrow, January 1st, going back to the gauge of a 4 to 6 month period being the balanced market, and that's what NAR has kind of also gone back to now that the market's pretty much back to normal. So we will struggle a lot to get out of a seller's market, because the seller's market still stays, down around that little under 3 months of inventory. So it's going to have to rise above 4 months of inventory at that point to hit a balanced market as we move forward here. New construction right now is plentiful. The best place you can go right now to probably get, what you would consider a good deal on pricing, if you want to work on that, is probably new construction, and that's pretty typical for this time of year. So there's some builder incentives out there. You're probably going to be able to get a little extra stuff that you may not get as we move into the first part of the year here as new construction starts out. So again, this is the last day. You'll see this graphic here. This is the market stats graphic here, showing how everything is kind of broken down by graphics. We're going to scrap this one as well. You'll see something similar to this as we move forward into the new year, but as of today, these are the last times you'll see those two graphics. So all right, well, with that, so next week I will come back and we will talk a little bit about what happened in the month of December and all the different categories. And we'll also, if I can get the numbers put together, we might talk about quarterly numbers. I like the quarterly reports better because they're a little more, they tell a little different story, same numbers, but they tell the story a little differently as when we're looking at it versus week over week or month over month. So the quarterly numbers should be available as well. If we run too long on next week's show, I will probably push that to the next week after that. So anyway, with that, thank you all for joining me as you always do every week. And please, if you haven't done so, you see the little subscribe button here. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. This will mean you will be notified each week when the newest video comes out, and it helps my analytics. I would love to grow my subscriber list as we move into 2024. If you can help me with that, that helps get the channel out. So, all right, go forth, party. It's December 31st as I'm recording this. Go have a good time tonight. Be safe, recover tomorrow, and get back in the office. And we will see you all again next week with a new show format. And we'll see you all next week with the month of December numbers. So take care and be safe, and we'll talk to you all again in 2024.